Welcome to Kingdom Stories, where faith comes to life. At Kingdom Stories, we bring powerful, faith-filled storytelling that inspires, uplifts, and encourages. Through modern-day parables and real-life narratives, we showcase God's presence in everyday life. Subscribe now and be part of a community where faith meets storytelling, and every story points back to God's love and grace. And now, let's begin.
The promise that waited. Elliot was a dreamer, and not just the kind that talked about ideas. He had written a vision down years ago to open a community center in his old neighborhood, a place where kids could feel safe, learn, and discover God's purpose for their lives. That vision burned in his heart like fire. He saved every extra dollar from his modest job as a warehouse supervisor. He drew blueprints, gathered volunteers, and even secured a small piece of land from the city for a discounted price. But year after year, the dream seemed to slip further away. Permits were denied, contractors backed out, and when the pandemic hit, he lost half his savings trying to support struggling neighbors. The dream that once felt close now felt buried under the weight of delay. One evening, Elliot sat alone in his car outside the weed-choked lot where the center was supposed to stand. He stared at the crumpled papers of old plans and whispered, "Maybe I heard God wrong." It was more than discouragement. It was despair. He had poured years of his life into something that hadn't moved. Other people were thriving, their dreams unfolding, while his felt forgotten. And to make it worse, friends began suggesting he move on. He cried out, "God, did I waste my life chasing a lie?" That night, Elliot couldn't sleep. Restless, he opened his old prayer journal and came across a page from 5 years earlier. Written in bold pen strokes was Habakkuk 2, verse 3. "For the vision is yet for an appointed time." He had written underneath it, "God, I trust you, no matter how long it takes." The verse pierced through the fog of doubt. Elliot didn't feel instant relief, but something shifted in him. He realized that God's delay was not God's denial. The vision hadn't expired. It was waiting for its appointed time. Just 2 weeks later, during a church service, a visiting speaker shared a testimony about funding community centers in underserved neighborhoods. After the service, a friend introduced Elliot to the speaker and mentioned his vision. They met for coffee the next week. One conversation led to another, and within months, funding came through, not only for the building but for staff salaries and after-school programs. 3 years after that tearful night in his car, the center opened with a line of children wrapped around the block. Elliot stood inside the front doors with tears in his eyes, watching kids laugh, learn, and feel safe, exactly how he'd envisioned a decade ago. Remember, Elliot's journey reminds us of this truth. God's promises are not on our timeline, but His. The delay isn't a denial, it's preparation. When the time is right, the vision will speak. If you're holding on to a promise that seems slow in coming, remember Habakkuk 2, verse 3. Though it tarries, wait for it. From the waiting, God is still working.
Subscribe now and be part of a community where faith meets storytelling.